Good morning. It is Sunday, September 20th, 2020. You can now relax and be informed. Here is your daily bite of news. President Trump pressed Senate Republicans on Saturday to confirm his choice to replace Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg without delay, as he seeks to force through an appointment in the weeks before the election on November 3rd. Mr. Trump said he expected to announce his nomination in the next week and told a campaign rally that it will be a woman. In a telephone conversation on Friday night with Senator Mitch McConnell, Republican of Kentucky and Majority Leader, Mr. Trump identified two women as candidates. Judges Amy Coney Barrett of the United States Court of Appeals for the 7th Circuit in Chicago and Barbara Lagoa of the 11th Circuit in Atlanta. The president rejected suggestions that he should wait to let the winner of the November 3rd contest fill the vacancy, much as Mr. McConnell insisted 4 years ago in blocking President Barack Obama from filling an election year vacancy on the court. "We won, and we have an obligation as the winners to pick who we want," Mr. Trump said. "That's not the next president. Hopefully, I'll be the next president. But we're here now, right now we're here, and we have an obligation to the voters, all of the people, the millions of people who put us here." It is not clear, however, whether Mr. McConnell has the votes to push through a nomination by November 3rd. At least 2 Republicans have said they oppose jamming through a nominee so close to a presidential election, meaning Mr. McConnell with a 53 to 47 majority and Vice President Mike Pence as a tiebreaker could afford to lose only one more. Some Republican strategists said it would make more sense for the president to name a choice right away and proceed with hearings, but to wait for a Senate vote until after November 3rd to give Republicans who have soured on Mr. Trump because of the coronavirus pandemic an incentive to turn out to vote. The Biden campaign will have an unusually direct role in the confirmation fight through Senator Kamala Harris of California, Mr. Biden's running mate. As a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Ms. Harris will serve as an interrogator for whomever Mr. Trump nominates. The Biden campaign could also still seize on the uncertain future of abortion rights to mobilize younger voters, raising the specter of a Supreme Court tilted toward a 6-3 conservative majority. If he wants something to fire up young people who weren't all that interested this year, this is it, John Anzalone, a pollster for Mr. Biden, said. Democratic donors poured unprecedented sums of money into campaigns and causes in the hours after Justice Ginsburg's death was announced, donating about $80 million online in the first 24 hours. Police arrested 86 protesters at tense Abolish ICE demonstrations in Times Square and near NYPD headquarters in Manhattan on Saturday. All were charged with disorderly conduct, and one was hit with a charge of resisting arrest. Videos from the scenes show police scuffling with protesters demonstrating against recent reports that Immigration and Customs Enforcement performed unneeded hysterectomies on immigrant women detained at an ICE facility in Georgia. Officers began making arrests as protesters stepped off the sidewalk and into the street. An NYPD message blared from a public address system alerting protesters that they were unlawfully in the roadway and obstructing vehicular traffic. President Donald Trump approved a deal Saturday that will allow TikTok to continue operating in the United States. The deal will make Oracle, a California-based software and cloud company close to the Trump administration, a minority shareholder in TikTok and give it control over the company's U.S. data. TikTok, Chinese-based parent ByteDance, will continue to own about 80% of the company, according to a person familiar with the deal. But the deal's architects will still be able to argue to U.S. regulators that they have reduced Chinese control. Because much of ByteDance is already held by American and international investors, the addition of Oracle and Walmart will make the company majority American-owned. The agreement, pending final sign-off from Washington, caps off public pressure from Trump to address alleged security threats posed by the app as part of a toughening posture against China. China's ByteDance Limited is seeking a valuation of $60 billion for TikTok as Oracle Corp and Walmart Incorporated take stakes in the short video app's business. Oracle and Walmart have rights to buy 12.5% and 7.5% respectively of a newly established TikTok Global. The two companies would pay a combined $12 billion for their stakes if they agree to that asking price. Terms are still in flux, and the proposed valuation could still change. Beijing also has yet to approve the deal. TikTok Global will likely be headquartered in Texas and will hire at least 25,000 people, Trump said. It will need to hire thousands of content moderators, engineers, and marketing staff that were previously located in China and around the world. TikTok Global intends to hold an initial public offering within 12 months. Federal officials intercepted an envelope addressed to the White House that contained the poison ricin. The letter appeared to have originated in Canada, according to a statement from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, which said it assisted the FBI, who are working to determine where the envelope originated from and who mailed it. Over recent days, officials from the U.S. Space Force and the Office of the Director of National Intelligence briefed multiple congressional committees on an uptick in Russian military activity in space targeting U.S. defense and intelligence satellites. While the sources declined to comment on the specifics of recent incidents, these recent actions were deemed serious enough to merit briefings on Capitol Hill. Army National Guard Major General Tim Lawson hinted at things coming that would help combat space-based threats, while emphasizing the importance of creating a large, resilient network of small satellites that are less vulnerable than the large military intelligence satellites currently operating. The Defense Intelligence Agency, tasked with collecting and analyzing intelligence for the Pentagon, recently published a lengthy report titled Challenges to Security in Space. According to the report, both China and Russia's militaries view space as important to modern warfare and aim to conduct operations there as a means to reduce U.S. and allied military effectiveness. The DIA authors also noted that both Russia and China are developing jamming and hyperspace capabilities, directing energy weapons, on-orbit capabilities, and ground-based anti-satellite missiles, technology that could have direct negative or destructive impacts on U.S. satellites. Congressional leaders missed a self-imposed deadline on Friday to strike an agreement on legislation that would help keep the government open through December 11th, with House Democrats now hoping to file the stopgap spending bill by Monday. Lingering issues over a White House demand to deliver tens of billions of dollars in trade relief for farmers, which Democrats opposed, ultimately caused the delay, while lawmakers made progress in other areas. Democrats and Republicans have clashed for days over when the continuing resolution should expire and which funding and policy exceptions should be included. House leaders have said they want to vote next week on the continuing resolution. The bill would extend current government funding levels past September 30th and buy more time for negotiations on a slate of fiscal 2021 spending bills. We have serious concerns about giving President Trump a blank check to spread political favors, a Democratic aide said. It is an abuse of taxpayer dollars to give this administration more money so the president can grab headlines with announcements at campaign rallies. Meanwhile, a senior GOP Senate leader aide slammed Pelosi earlier this afternoon for being so out of touch with flyover country that she's essentially telling our nation's farmers to drop dead by withholding funding for this critical program. Despite an already booming Atlantic hurricane season and catastrophic wildfires blanketing the West Coast, lawmakers aren't planning to combine a stopgap with a separate disaster relief package. Despite the discord with less than 2 weeks until a federal funding lapse, lawmakers and White House officials have signaled that a catastrophic government shutdown isn't a concern. The U.S. said international sanctions on Iran are automatically snapping back in a move that most nations say the Trump administration doesn't have the authority to demand since quitting a 2015 nuclear deal. Sanctions are being reimposed on Iran, Secretary of State Michael Pompeo said in a statement late on Saturday. The United States expects all UN member states to fully comply with their obligations to implement these measures. The U.S. moves have united partners like the UK, France, and Germany with Russia and China, all of whom have sought to salvage the accord. Their unity has left the U.S. isolated on the United Nations Security Council, and most nations say America has no authority to demand the return of international sanctions since it no longer is a party to the Iran nuclear deal. To enforce these measures, if countries like Russia and China disregard them, the U.S. could use tools such as secondary sanctions on shippers, insurers, and banks, and may even threaten interdictions of ships at sea. In the coming days, the United States will announce a range of additional measures to strengthen implementation of UN sanctions and hold violators accountable, Pompeo said in his statement. Our maximum pressure campaign on the Iranian regime will continue until Iran reaches a comprehensive agreement with us to rein in its proliferation threats and stop spreading chaos, violence, and bloodshed. That's all for now, folks. To read up on these topics, see our description for sources below. Subscribe to this channel to receive a daily news update. Thank you so much for listening. Be relaxed, be informed, be connected.